Hey, Magna Andy back with you. So, working on the carbs for a V65 Magna. We've been through the assembly of the float bowls. The next step I'm going to do is I'm going to put the throttle shafts and butterflies back in. This is all of the hardware that's needed to do that. And I have these arranged here as carb 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I have them arranged here 1, 2, 3, and 4 for what's going to go into each of those. It's easy to identify on the V45 and V65s, first gens anyway, the number 1 carb, because that's where the throttle connects. For number 2 shaft, it's the other one with the springs in it. Okay. Now these two can be a bit of a problem, but there's a really easy way to tell. Suppose I mix these up and I take this shaft and I try and put it in here. You see this clip does not come all the way to the face here. It's too long, and you'll notice that those holes are not centered on here, so this is the wrong one. Okay, this one here, when it goes in, the clip ends up flush with this face approximately. Those holes end up basically on center here, so we have the right one. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to show you what we have to do now. First thing we need to do is to put our cup here along with our felt that I have soaking in oil here, and I'm not going to take any oil off this. I'm just going to leave it all oiled up. I'm going to sit that felt into the cup, then turn it over and press it in here. Okay, there we go. That one actually pressed in by hand. You only need to get it a little bit lower than flush with this. If it doesn't press in by hand, then you can tap it in gently with a hammer. You want to keep it nice and level, so when I talk about tapping, I'm talking about like that kind of tap. Okay, so now that we have that in there, next thing we're going to do is make sure we have our fiber washer on here. Take our spring, and here again there are 2 springs. They look similar, but you'll notice that one end is more completely formed than the other, and they need to go on like this, with the partially formed one going over this little divot here, okay, in order that they can grip and provide tension. If you try and put the wrong one on, you'll see that it ends up on the wrong side of that divot. Okay, so they need to be on this side. Okay, so we have the washer on here. I'm going to put this onto there. Now we're going to insert this gently. Just let it come down. Okay, the spring engages here. Alright. Now with this one here, which is number 1, we need to preload this by basically 3/4 of a turn, or perhaps a little more, and we're going to ease that just past here, and that will hold it in place. Okay, next step here is to take our butterfly, and we're going to insert the butterfly into the groove in here. The butterfly is not fully symmetrical because it sits at an angle, so these edges are actually at an angle, and on this one it has a little stamp here, king stamp here, So that's going to be at the top towards me. Okay. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to turn it till that slot is coming straight out. I'm going to insert this, being very careful to keep these holes in there level as they go down, because otherwise these edges here will catch inside here and you'll have a very tough time and can in fact scrape it and do some damage. Okay, so let's just get that set in there, and I hold it in place a little bit while I... Okay, now this is actually stopped here and those holes are not exactly lined up, so I'm going to ease it a little bit more. Okay, now I'm just jiggling it. Okay, now those holes are fully lined up. Okay. Next thing to do is take our 2 small screws that go in there with our JIS screwdriver and put them in. Okay. Now I could crank these down, but what I want to do, make sure that's fully seated. Now I'm going to look through from the back side here, and I want to see no light coming in all the way around. There we go. So basically I'm looking up with a light source in the back here, looking to make sure that we have a full seal all the way around that butterfly. Alright? If you don't, then you need to open this up and shift the butterfly a little bit until you get that full seal. That's very important. Alright, let me just step away for a second. Bear with me, I'm still here, I'm just looking for something. Alright, I can't seem to locate it right this very instant. No, it's not coming together. Okay, what I was going to do is tell you about a product that we can use actually to lock these screws, because initially these screws have been staked on the back at the factory to make sure that they don't come out. So if you use a Loctite and put it in here on these threads, it's possible that that can actually wick down in between the shaft and this plate here and make it very difficult to remove next time. So you can get a Loctite tape which you could put on. It's a little bit like a Teflon tape, except it comes in a pardon me, in a blue color, and you could just put a little bit of it on this, just like wrapping with, like I say, with Teflon, and put this in, and then because it's a tape, it will not wick and cannot get between this throttle shaft and the butterfly here. Okay. Alright, so that's one done. The others are done all exactly the same way, with the, again, the cup, the the felt washer, the fiber washer, and a spring or not, depending, and then the butterfly, and that's just that simple. Alright, thanks a lot, guys.